If you're building a brand, a business, pretty much anything, honestly, you're just trying to make your next move your best move. There's something you got to drill into your head early on. You can't grow alone. It's not sustainable. It's not the smartest move to make. And for sure, you definitely cannot scale because, of course, you're doing this alone. Going solo dolo does not make it, honestly. You can't go that far. You may move a little faster, but you won't go as far as you really should be going. You won't have the impact you should have. I get it. Don't get me wrong. You're bootstrapping, doing it all yourself, pulling all-nighters, no days off, all that crap. And I do mean crap, right? Hustle culture, drilling and grilling and grinding yourself into a ground, juggling invoices and trying to bounce one idea off the wall because you're not bouncing off of people, not bouncing off a team, right? You're doing everything in a silo, trying to move faster, thinking that this is the best way, the most optimal way to get things done. And sadly, it could be because you have the wrong ideas in mind of why you need to go at it alone. A lot of us have been there. Hell, some of us are still there. Some days, even I'm still there. We're talking one day, maybe 2 days. We're not talking about the entire process. Let's get real. Let's be real. Hustle is just motion without direction. You're bouncing all over the place. What gives you direction? What helps you have an actual target in mind and stay on pace to reach that target? Hitting the milestones that you need to get to the destination that you set for yourself, that you say is important for yourself. They come in 2 forms, typically: mentorship and your network. They go hand in hand. They work like GPS in progress, not just moving around aimlessly, because busy isn't progression. Doesn't work that way. So in today's episode, we're going to talk about the keys to growth, combination, mentorship, and your network. And we're going to learn and we're going to hear from a great example, a fantastic entrepreneur who's applied those 2 principles and is growing leaps and bounds every single year because that's exactly what she has been doing. Building out a network, learning from mentorship. We're going to learn a lot from her, and we're going to learn a lot about the steps that need to be taken for you to do the same. How a mentor can help a small business owner improve and grow is in a couple of factors, but we're going to focus in on the most critical and the most important, and actually the ones that get the most talked about and the most attention. So expert guidance with that concept, because the idea is that you've experienced what I've experienced. You've understood the challenges I've gone through. You have not only survived, maybe even thrived in all of the things or the majority of the things that I will encounter along my journey. So instead of me making those mistakes without any kind of guidance, how about you can guide me to either avoid those mistakes or what to learn from those same decisions? Because maybe I make the errors, and I have to learn on my own. But you give me the tools to recover and to learn how to use them to my advantage, and to use any situation as an opportunity and not necessarily a setback. Which goes actually right into the very next one, which is accountability. Now, accountability, not only have they seen what you've seen, not only have they experienced what you are about to experience or what you have experienced, right? But that mentor will hold you accountable. What were the next steps that you took? Encouraging you to be the owner that you want to be, encouraging you to be the boss you want to be, encouraging you and face those challenges, not being passive aggressive, understanding what's coming your way and helping you make those decisions, or better yet, helping you to be accountable to your decisions. A lot of times people use the term, I made a mistake, when they just made a bad decision. Those are 2 different things. A mistake, you didn't think about it, right? It happened inadvertently. You didn't do it on purpose. But a bad decision is a bad decision. You knew what you were doing and it didn't work out well, or you knew what you were doing and it probably wasn't what you should have done. Right? You probably made that decision thinking that it's a quick fix. It's a get rich quick kind of thing, right? But that mentor can hold you accountable. Like, you knew what the outcome could be. You knew what the consequences could be. and you put yourself, or even worse yet, you put your team in this situation. Doesn't mean I'm beating you up and I'm scolding you. What it means is now I'm going to hold you accountable. What are you going to do now to get back on track? What are you going to do better if you're encountering the same situation? That's where good mentorship can help, because maybe they've done the same thing and they've learned from it. They've seen it themselves and they know the best ways to recover, and they can help you in holding yourself accountable on the road to recovery. And that can be taken in so many different ways, not just from a business perspective, but more so just an overall human personal development perspective, right? Decision-making support goes right into it, the pros and the cons, and making major decisions and reducing the risk. That mentor can share what the potential pros and cons could be to all your decisions. Of course, the networking opportunities are there as well. As a mentor, they typically have a network of other accomplished professionals, maybe even other mentees that they're working with, that you can connect with, and you can build out that network. You know, we're talking about networking and mentorship as they're two separate things, but they often go hand in hand because that mentor becomes a part of your network. Confidence building. It's really great to have those words of encouragement and words of support, but also could be a confidence builder. What can also be a confidence builder is the fact that somebody is investing their time into you. Often I've brought up the situation a few times before of when I was much younger, learning how to skate, and then I became a skate guard at the ice rink. I was a skate guard, right? I bring up that story a lot because I noticed I skated better and I became a better skater by helping other people. It improved my confidence to help others, because I knew a person was counting on me to help them, to guide them, to support them, maybe even helping them learn how to skate. That made me a better hockey player overall, maybe a better skater, a better hockey player. And it goes to the same factors that when you are a mentor, that level of confidence of helping someone else will actually help you in your own business. So from the mentee's perspective, the fact is somebody is taking the time to invest in you. So now you want to do better. Not just because you want to show off or something like that, really because you're like, listen, somebody is taking the time and the effort to put into me to do better and to succeed. So I want to make sure they're not wasting their time. I'm not wasting my time. I'm not wasting their time. They're not wasting their time. It's basically a beautiful trifecta, right? It's like we all want to get the most out of this. So your confidence goes through the roof because you have something you want to prove to not only to yourself, but to others. And of course, like I said, as a mentor, it's really a confidence booster for you as well. If you have an opportunity to help someone and they're looking to you for your knowledge and your support, and whether it's words of encouragement or just, opportunities to grow and challenges, everyone can see a benefit from this. Skill development. Now, mentors can definitely help you identify skill gaps. Not because they've just seen, I've been there before. This is something you need to do better. Maybe you need to have better marketing skills. You need to better time management skills. You need to, learn how to keep your books better. And that's something they've done. But also because things that were pointed out to them as skill gaps. Often, sometimes we're so deep in the trenches of doing our own work, we don't even notice where that gap is until somebody on the outside looks at it. And maybe because they've been there before, they're like, oh, you know what? I had this same problem when I was starting out. Or another mentee that I worked with had the same or similar issue when they were starting out or when they were at this stage. So a mentor can quickly identify a problem before it becomes a real problem. It could be simply, hey, you know what? You just need to make sure you're scheduling your day properly. Prioritization, right? A lot of people have this, but they think everything's a priority. Well, if everything's a priority, nothing's a priority. Prioritize your day. Better yet, we always talk about these things like time management. When sometimes it could be, some things do need to be put on the back burner, right? That's a form of time management. That priority. This needs to be put aside and you need to focus on this. Better yet, what aren't your strongest points? Maybe that's the skills gap. You're trying to learn how to do everything. This happens to a lot of entrepreneurs and small business owners where they feel they have to learn every single task, every single tactic, every single trade and activity to the point that they can do it. No. Because if you're trying to do everything yourself, once again, that means everything kind of becomes a priority for you to do. Nothing gets done. You can't make the product, ship the product, sell the product, call, email, all that stuff. All that stuff could be happening at the same time. But if you try to do it all on yourself and you try to do it all, just your own two hands, it's not going to work out that way. Even with all the AI tools imaginable, it's not going to work out that way. Maybe the skill gap is learning how to delegate. It's a big miss on a lot of entrepreneurs and small business owners, properly learning how to delegate and trust people and hire good people that they do trust and that they can develop. Perspective and clarity. Outside perspective, just like this, if they can identify the skills gap, they can identify opportunities to network, they can identify areas of improvement, not for you, but for your overall organization. Maybe you set up things properly. You just don't have the right components, right? You don't have the right people in the right places, the right resources. Or going back to that skills gap, they take that step back and have that perspective to say, you know what? All of these tactics and activities can be automated, while others need to be manual, need to be focused, and need a little bit more scrutiny. Mentors can definitely help out and benefit there too. Strategic planning and problem solving. Say these kind of go hand in hand simply because strategic planning often leads to what is our contingency plan when we have a problem? What is our contingency plan when the original route doesn't work out? Who do we have in place? What do we have in place? What resources do we have there? Where are we lacking those resources? And that problem solving is simply down to who owns it, who can control it, who's the best person to be in the position to make the decision. Is that you? Is that a partner, a co-owner? Maybe you need another teammate there. This is where mentors, years, maybe even just a year of experience can come in and help you out in identifying those areas where this is where you're going to need a partner. This is where you're going to need some employees or at least some contractors to handle these tasks. And let's come up with contingency plans before these become problems. For instance, let's say you're going to go for a loan or you have a proposal for an investor. Well, what's your contingency plan? A lot of loans are contingent on, well, you can get this loan, but it's a reimbursement loan. Maybe you didn't know it was a reimbursement loan. What is your plan if they say, well, we can't give you the money up front. We're going to give you the money as a reimbursement. Did you have a plan in place to pay for the project before getting that investment, before getting that loan? I'll tell you right now, from my own experience, working with not loan officers, but working with private investors, a lot of times private investors look at it like, if the only way you're going to get this project off the ground is if you have my money, I don't want to give it up. And I'm telling you right now, the same thing happens with a lot of banks. They look at it more so, if you don't have a plan in place to where this money, if it doesn't come through, the project is still going to get done one way or another, and we're not informed about that, and we're not aware of that, and we don't see a plan about that, we're probably not going to give you that funding. A mentor can help you and prepare for that. I learned that from a mentor. Let me tell you right now, saved me from a lot of pain and a lot of crying in a bank. Yes, it's okay to cry in a bank. People do it all the time. And finally, encouragement during setbacks. Words of encouragement help a lot. And I'm not just saying, patting you on the back, saying, hey, yeah, you're doing a great job when you're not doing well. No, genuinely, when you are doing a great job, someone comes behind you and says, listen, I saw you from start to finish. I saw you from where you grew up. Maybe where you started was really in a rough patch, right? You didn't have any business knowledge, or you didn't know much about this business. Maybe you didn't know how to run it as a business, more so as a hustle. And I've seen how you've grown. From working with mentors in the past, I can tell you right now, that is one of the things that can get you through a rough day, is when you have somebody say, man, I see what you're doing and I love what you're doing. I see how you're working and I love what you've accomplished. Think about it this way. A lot of people talk about things like grind culture, right? And simply, how they kind of muscled through everything. They stayed up late and they got the job done. Wouldn't it be great if, that was a portion of how you got the job done. That was a portion of your story. But then you had a mentor. You had somebody who had seen you along the way and maybe giving you a little few gems, a few nuggets, to work with. But for the most part, you did the work. And they came back and they said, you know what? I saw everything you went through and all those ups and downs. And I want to say I'm proud of you. I congratulate you. And I'm going to tell the world about everything you've done. See, you turned that mentor into a cheerleader now. That's fantastic. And it's just a beautiful sight when somebody has seen you through all of that and give you those words of encouragement. Now, mentorship, like I said, can connect directly into networking. And the thing about networking is, it's, as they say, it's not what you know, it's who you know. Because of that mentorship and that relationship you've already established, you have an opportunity to build out a beautiful network with other people who have worked as mentors, other people who have been mentored, current mentees, the whole nine. You have the entire gamut, but also people outside of your direct industry and other partnership industries. And this is where the real growth comes into play. Okay. I'm not talking about passing out just your business cards at at a mixer or something like that. I'm talking about making real connections. I'm talking about developing real friendships and at least acquaintances within similar industries or the same industry, where you guys can share information, you can share insights, maybe share contacts and referrals. The majority of businesses say that they get their initial business, at least to start off, through referrals. And nothing is more powerful than a referral. That's the reason why social media is one of the most important factors when it comes to advertising and marketing, because social media is almost the exact same as a referral, right? If my friends are watching this on social media, they love to purchase from this store, they love that influencer, they go and they purchase the service, and then they share it with their network, that's a referral. That is me telling my friends, telling my community, I like this brand, I like this business, I like this company. You know what? I want you guys to know about it too. There's an automatic trust factor there. And that's why I say it's about a relationship. So breaking it down like a fraction, here's the real. If you want to grow and you want to build your business up, especially leveraging networking, here's the real numbers behind networking. As I mentioned, referrals, 78% of businesses increase their business, their revenue stream from referrals alone. Okay? 78%. If you're just starting out and you have a strong network, and when I say a strong network, I mean people who actually listen to you guys have conversations, not just these followers. I hate this stuff. Oh, I have 100,000 followers on Instagram, or I have 100,000 followers or 200,000 followers on LinkedIn. I don't care how many followers you have. How many people do you actually talk to? How many people actually trust what you have to say? And how many people actually share what you have to say? That's what matters. Because if you tell me you have 100,000 people that follow you on any social media platform, and then you share something and it's one person commenting, and notice I'm not talking about likes. I'm talking about commenting. I'm talking about shares. Nobody shared it. One person commented. That's not a network to me. That just means there's a bunch of people who maybe liked a picture of yours and started following you, hoping they'll see another picture they like. That's literally what that is. But we're talking about real referrals and business people. 78% of startups and small business owners say that their network has been the key source of referrals. And that's where they see the most growth. Word of mouth. Creating content online that connects to that same audience that you've already built that connection with is the key. But making sure you have that connection with them, that's the first step, right? What will they share? What will they comment on? What will they share out with others? Will people give out their phone number? I look at it like this. If you're having a conversation with somebody, and then when it comes to building out a network, if you have a conversation with somebody and they're telling you about their business, and maybe you have a cup of coffee with them, maybe you have dinner with them, maybe you hang out with them, lunch, would you refer that business to a friend if a friend or an associate had the situation that they needed that type of business? That's how you know if you have a true business network. How many people can I go to? Well, you know what? Somebody says they need a ride, so I know a limo service. Somebody says they need a website. I know a guy who can build websites. I know his company. Somebody says they need plumbing or they need, construction work done. I know a contractor. I know a plumber. I know certified. I know a licensed HVAC specialist. That type of thing. That's how you know you have a real business network. You want to be in that position. When people say, hey, you know what? I need a website, or I need social media work done, or I need a logo created, I want my friends and associates to say, oh, Aaron does that. I know Aaron. And this is why you want to be sure it's very clear about what you do and how you do things and where you do things to those friends and to those associates, so they know when to refer you. Number 2, higher revenue growth. Harvard Business Review. Strong networks. When a business has a strong network, they're 45% more likely to experience revenue growth compared to businesses that don't have one. As mentioned, hey, I know this person has this type of business. Whenever I hear a friend, associate, coworker, whatever, say that they need that work, oh, go to this guy, go to that woman, because there's a level of trust there. That's the reason why they're 45% more likely to get that business than someone they don't know, right? As opposed to saying, well, I know online there's a bunch of places I can make a website. Well, what does that say to somebody? As opposed to, hey, my best friend, this is what he does. My best friend, this is the business that she owns. There's a level of trust already established there, and that goes right to the potential buyer. Access to funding opportunities. Now, many people miss this about a network. They think automatically when we say, oh, network, well, that means I'm going to get a customer, I'm going to get a client. They miss the opportunity of possibly getting investments too, okay? So 38% of small business owners found that funding investment through somebody of their network was more likely than someone not. In other words, I'm going to connect you to a person who's interested in this business, but that might not even be the conversation. The conversation is, we're just chit-chatting, we're having a good time, and I'm like, hey, meet my friend who knows this small business. You're like, hey, you know what? I don't want that business of my own, or I don't want to start that business of my own, but I wouldn't mind investing in one. And since you know X, Y, Z, me, let's have a conversation about it. Relationships is what it always comes down to. Building relationships based upon trust. Faster problem solving. Now, we brought it up about mentorship. Like I said, mentorship and networking are connected completely. The great people over at Score Mentors survey found that 70% of small business owners say that being a part of a professional network helped them solve problems and challenges faster. Key point about that mentorship. If you're having a cash flow problem, if you're having an investment problem, right? If you're having a problem where you can't establish your target audience, a mentor can help you and guide you through this, right? In developing that business plan, a marketing strategy, but also that network. Because if you're looking at your network and that's why I said, that's why it's good to have both network people inside your same industry and outside the industry, more like a partner industry or subsector, right? So for instance, if your marketing is an overall industry, maybe your specific area is, for instance, digital marketing, right? You focus on strictly online work. And all you do is online work. You don't do anything like billboards. You don't do anything outside advertising, print ads, anything like that. But you have people in your network who also are interested or involved in digital marketing. And then you have people who are specific sectors, just advertising, strictly online advertising. People who just do social media work, social media organic promotion, right? And other people who do market research and market analytics. They can help you identify the problems that you're having by just asking questions. Man, if you guys are encountering, maybe you're having an issue with this target audience. Are you guys having a problem where you're not getting enough, feedback, or you're not getting enough referrals, or you're not getting recommendations, return on investment? You can bounce that off of them and see what's going on in different sectors and see what's going on directly in your specific area of the industry. And you can get to it a lot faster, which is a lot more important, because if there's a problem, you can identify it fast. Hopefully, you can also find a resolution to it. So it's all gravy. So mentorship and networking do truly work hand in hand. And one of the best examples of this is the interview that we have coming up with a very successful young lady. You talk about the power of a network. Talk about a power of a network, right? In many cases, you will never know where the next business partner or next opportunity is going to come from just by going to one event. You meet great people who not only show you, man, these are opportunities I could be having for my own business, but you just want to sit back and say, you know what? It's really great to see that somebody who established something on one day and then see them years later and how much it's grown. But most importantly, they said where they wanted to go. And not only did they get there, they surpassed it. That's one of the beautiful parts about having a network, is because those people become examples of, I want to do the same thing. And I just love having a person around me who's doing this, because I'm feeding off of that energy, and that's making me more motivated to do my own thing. Not necessarily like you're using them, right? It's more so you guys are helping each other, right? You're seeing them succeed, so you want to succeed on your own and do your own thing. But you're looking at them like, it can be done. I just had to be consistent. You never know where that next client's going to come from. Never know where that next investor is going to come from, right? Went through all the power and the elements of networking. But in this interview, you're going to see exactly why networking is so important for every single ambitious person out here. It'll not only fuel your ambition, right, but it'll also support that growth. And you can, sit back and say, man, I know this person. I knew when they were coming up and they were getting up in the ranks like I was. So we come right back. We're gonna have the interview with Dorothy Woods, accomplished young business person right from here, Chicago, Illinois, who I met at a Fiverr event. We're gonna talk about that when we come right back. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Ambition Show podcast. I'm your host, of course, Aaron Muhammad. Thank you so much for joining us in this episode. And we have a great guest today, but also just entrepreneurships in general. We're looking at entrepreneurs who are growing, who are thriving, but also, of course, have stories of inspiration and can help us because we're all in different stages of our businesses and we can take from inspiration, we can take from guidance. Remember, your mentor could be anywhere. And real quick, just want to call out that this is the power of networking because I remember, it was so funny. I remember meeting this person and it's so crazy. I remember meeting her at an event for Fiverr. Okay, this is how crazy it is from years ago. And it was a connection between the sellers, the buyers, the people who work with Fiverr, things like that. And all of a sudden, literally, 2-3 years later, I get an email because I signed up for email notifications. I signed up for the newsletter. And I get an email and I'm like, hey, wait a minute. I think I know this person. I know this company. I know this business. Okay, they're doing email marketing now. Okay. And I was like, hey, you know what? This is the whole point of the show. Let me see. Because I know she had a busy schedule. Can I get her on the show? And she was able to carve out some time for us. Thank you so much. Let me introduce you, everybody, to Miss Dorothy Woods. Dorothy, how are you doing?
Ooh, I'm doing great. How about
Good.
yourself?
Good. I am doing well. I'm doing fabulous, and even more so because, just as I mentioned, like you have grown. I remember, you were making moves initially, but when I
Mhm.
saw that email, and I saw everything that was going on. I saw the promotions. I saw how you really branded the business. I'm like, see, this is a person who clearly is literally living what the show is all about, which is it's not about where you start. It's not about starting small. It's about just starting, getting going, and then building and building slowly but surely. Dorothy, tell us a little bit about your business. I want to know, well, I know a little bit, but tell the world about what your business is all about. Let's find out about your company and how you grow.
Yes, so I am the owner of Pleasant Palace Cleaning and Organizing Service, and we've been around we just celebrated 4 years in business, January 10th. So uh, it's been amazing. And yeah, so our services, we started off as just cleaning and organizing, right? And eventually that has grown into also implementing laundry carryout, where we wash your clothes, use eco-friendly solutions, and fold it up, bring it back straight to your door.
Okay, that's fantastic. Fantastic. So, and that's a business that I can imagine has grown quite a bit. We have so many developments with condos. We have developments of people, buying, real estate nowadays. So they may be a little farther away from their local laundromat or dry cleaner. So they're utilizing your services, leverage it the most. But not speaking for you, like who do you target? Like, who's your target audience or who's your target consumer that you're like looking to serve the most and help the most?
Yeah, so we tend to work with busy individuals, business professionals, even families, as well as couples. We have some couples in there. We love the couples.
Okay. Oh, hey, gotta have maybe. It's understandable. Even if it's a couple, it's a family, still there's things that just, you need to go to that outside service. You need that luxury. You need that. And that's the whole point of building a business is you finding an opportunity. And not sure, just want to make sure, how did what made you get into that business? Like what made you to get into this particular area in this service? Because, a lot of people don't immediately think of a cleaning service. Don't think of, dry cleaning, don't think of laundry, don't think of things like, these areas where people have, maybe the most challenges, but these are probably the areas that honestly is probably one of the most in demand areas, especially nowadays, as I mentioned, growth. What got you into the industry and that business sector?
Yeah, so I've always been a neat freak, as they call it, or I've had some kind of OCD. This came early on through my teenage years,
Okay.
and eventually I was working for another company, a cleaning company located out in the south suburbs, and
Okay.
things had slowed down working with her,
Okay.
and but it was a great experience, and I was actually encouraged by a friend of mine at the time. They were, just saying, hey, you should start your own business, and at the time I was doing security full time, working overnight, and
Mhm.
just I just thought about it, just brainstormed on it, and eventually I, just took down notes on names and logos, what they could look like, and like,
Mhm.
we connected through Fiverr. At that time, I leveraged Fiverr, found
Okay.
someone to work with, and they created our logo, and everything is just gone from there.
Good, good. So I mean, you have like a lot of entrepreneurs start out, you were kind of transitioning. You look like you found that opportunity people demand, but sounds like you're working full time while starting your business. So were you working full time and also doing this, also starting up the business slowly, or did you make a clean cutoff? Like, what was your transition?
Yeah. So, again, this was in 2020. So all
Okay.
of this transpired October 2020.
Okay.
A lot of times I share that with people, and they're like, "Oh, that was during COVID, and I was still
Hmm.
working." So it
Hmm.
really didn't even know me. But with me doing security overnight, started in October. Things were set up by November. We started with just a Google business page,
Okay.
and didn't land our first client until some time later, and yeah, and it has just gone on from there. So we November didn't land our first client until January, and yeah, and it's just going on from there.
There it is. Okay. And I mean, you started a business during one of the toughest times. I mean, we saw a lot of businesses closing during that time period.
Hmm.
So to start a business during that, what was one of the challenges to start a business during COVID and the pandemic and everything? Because that cannot be nowhere near easy. What was some of the challenges there?
I guess I really didn't see it as a challenge.
Okay.
I just gave it some time. Again, starting up in November, you're just like, okay, what am I? I'm always looking. I'm looking at the business page, like, oh, what could I add? And this is just early on. I haven't, much knowledge, but
Mhm.
um, just yeah, over time. And then I'm sorry, you also asked about just what has the transition been
Yeah.
for going up to full time.
Mhm.
Um, as time went on, I was saving money, and I just got to a point where I was tired. Like, things had just really picked up. It got really busy, and I found myself working overnight and working during the day and barely sleeping, and barely being able to get up and get to that job, that overnight job. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to make a cutoff, and I did, and just plan for it, and I've been sticking with it ever since. So this was June of 2022.
Okay. June of 2022. Okay. So
Mhm.
now I love how you brought out how you planned, you kind of planned how that transition was going. Well, I mean, clearly things were working simultaneously at some point as well, but you also planned how to make that clear cutoff and that clear transition. Um,
Yeah.
did you, when it comes to like forming the business, because this is where a lot of people I've noticed struggle when I've talked to a lot of entrepreneurs when they're forming their business, they're putting things together. Um, did you work with like a CPA, or did you go to any type of mentorship to find out like, okay, if I'm transitioning, making this business, should it be a LLC? Should it be how should I incorporate and things like that? Just what was some of the planning that went into that? Cause that's an area I've heard a lot of entrepreneurs struggle the most with. They're just trying to figure out, well, what do I do next? I know I have a business idea, but I don't know if it should be the incorporated. Should it be LLC? Should I get a partnership? What were just some things that helped you with that guide you through that time period?
Yeah, for me, I wouldn't say that I really discuss things with anyone. For me, I'm a researcher. So
Okay.
I'm about, go on Google,
Hmm.
YouTube, do all the
Hmm.
researching I can and make notes, and then just kind of decide and go from there. And then I also, I still have a connection with the lady that I was working with who
Okay.
had a cleaning business. So a lot of times I would just talk to her and ask her questions as well. She's been very helpful along the journey. And we've even teamed up and partnered up over the years, helping each
Good.
other with our businesses. So,
Awesome. No, that's absolutely perfect. That's good. You kept the partnership going, or built a partnership, I should say, and co-branding a little bit there. But
yeah.
research. I'm glad you mentioned research because I tell people this all the time, and I've heard so many people this is where they struggle a lot. But just doing, I mean, a little research goes a long way. I said it so many times, and clearly, like you said, you've already had a knack for it. Clearly, you already had a liking for it. But that's just a note to everybody out there listening. Research is incredibly important. Take your time, look things over, just just start going out, asking questions and finding things out for yourself. And like I said, simple Google search can even get you going. Okay, so when we talk about the business, and I mentioned how I got an email newsletter, which I love to hear, I love to see. I was like, okay, that means somebody's growing their business, and they're not just looking at just social media. They're looking at the areas of digital marketing that are not only kind of old school, but they're not going anywhere. They're growing actually. What ways do you market your business? Because I noticed that email popped up, that newsletter popped up, but what are some ways that you're marketing your business, and what are some, marketing tactics that have worked for you to help you grow your business?
Yeah, so from jump, everything has always been just communication, networking. As I'm out in the store, hi, hello, giving compliments, just making a slight connection there and just sharing the business from there. And furthermore, from there, of course, we have our Google business page. So we are utilizing Canva and, creating things on there, posting it, uploading it. We're using social media, of course. We're using Facebook, Instagram, and what else? Yeah, just Facebook, Instagram. We have a YouTube as well.
Okay.
And of course, we leverage having a system for like client referral. So if you refer to business, you could, receive a gift card up to $30. And then we also have employee referral rewards as well. So something similar, but just a different strategy as far as gift cards go, and being able to give you something for referring an employee.
Okay. Oh, perfect. And for referring a employee. Okay. So that helps you build out your team and build out your business. That's really cool.
Yeah.
Good move. Let me go back to you mentioned a couple great platforms. I just want to see how they work for you and things that you've learned from them. Anything you could share as well. So you said you use your Google profile, which is, fantastic. People are starting to leverage that more. Are there elements or things that you like about Google profile, or things that maybe you don't like about Google profile? Or any tips that you can share about that with another business?
Yes, absolutely. We utilize the Google profile from beginning to end, like all the little things that you can fill them in, and if you don't know what to put in there exactly, just take a moment to brainstorm, think about it, plug in those numbers, because it does give just room for potential people to you kind of weed people out, and I hate to say that, but you just attract what you're looking for. So if you have as much information as you can on there, you have some people who will do their due diligence, and they will browse and they will say, okay, well, these people have their things in order, or this is a professional business and company, and it'll reel them in. So definitely, as you utilize Google business profile, fill in the blanks, and also upload photos, or videos are helpful. Just whatever you can, just showing that there's some sort of activity in your business, and you're here.
Yes, and Dorothy, I'm so glad you said that. First off, you hit on two big things. I want to make sure to clarify for people because you've seen it firsthand, and the power of like just using that to kind of, you said, weed out people. You got to be honest, right? You're targeting people, and that's when targeting means you're weeding people out. So people use those fields. Like a lot of people don't use those fields, as every field in there. If you don't, you mentioned it before, just doing research and Googling, but just taking the time to brainstorm. And then the other thing is uploading the video and the photos. Like, you got photos of your business, you're gonna do it to Facebook. Why not do it to Google? why not? Take advantage of that. So, no, I'm just so happy you touched on that, because a lot of people miss that. A lot of people miss it. With your social media, you said you do Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. What do you upload on YouTube? Like, what do you post on YouTube?
For YouTube, it's been just videos that I'm putting together. For one, we had entered a pitch competition, so that was one thing that kind of kicked off the YouTube. We had a pitch competition. We had to just put together, something about the business, what we're looking to do, and that was uploaded on YouTube. I've shopped in, like, I like to go to stores. Obviously,
Okay.
we're cleaning, organizing, and as a professional, we want to be able to recommend products and show people what's out here, like what you can use. So, oftentimes I will go to stores like Five Below or Dollar Tree and um, uh, the Container Store, and just literally just going down the aisles, recording videos, and you just put them together. You show people, hey, this is what's out here. You can use, these items. So just got to shop around.
There you go. That's a great way of leveraging, YouTube. That's just, I mean, fantastic. It's showing you're a real business. You're a real business owner. You're a real person. And like you said, like there's a bunch of places to get supplies and sources from. Why not, showcase and the reality of it, but also utilizing it for, like you said, the pitch that you guys did. The pitch, were you guys successful? Did you guys, close the deal, or what you guys were trying to get out of that pitch? Just want to get an idea of that one.
So we were able to make it to the finals, not the finals. We were able to make it to the semifinals.
Okay.
And yeah, because it was a process. So I don't know, should I plug in the place? But I actually love this. This company or this organization. It's
Okay.
called IJ Clinic, and they are, I want to say, in the Hyde Park area. And but they help you with pitches, they help you with just different things with your
Nice.
business. They always have like different events going on. They'll feed you and everything, but if you come with an open mind, you
Yeah.
take notes, you challenge yourself, you'll come out on top, and you'll come out a better business owner. But there was a process for it. So they um and I think they had like their 11th annual pitch competition. And but yeah, so there was a process. So you just enter, and then from there you send a video, and then from there it was a voting system, right? So you have to get people to vote for you, and I guess whoever had the most likes, that's how they chose, um who went to the finals. There we go. Mm-hmm.
Okay, no problem. And what was the name of the organization again? It's no problem to mention them and plug them, because I mean, frankly, that's the whole point of the show to share where we've been and where we grow. What was the name of the organization?
IJ Clinic.
IJ Clinic. Okay, well that's awesome. That's awesome. You said they had their, it looked like they walked you through a whole kind of like almost like not an incubator process per se, but a process at least to where and help you leverage some resources there. So that's awesome. And for those who don't know, for the people, because we got a lot of listeners, just so you know, Dorothy, we got a lot of listeners outside the country. I hope they understand it, because I don't translate every episode like I want to. But we do have a lot of people outside the country. Hyde Park is one of the best neighborhoods. When you hear about Chicago people, listen, get it out your mind. All the other stuff people talk about, Hyde Park is one of the best areas in the country, if you ask me. And I've been all around the country, 36 states, by the way. And Chicago has a lot to offer. Like I said, I know people pop up on things on news and media and stuff, but Hyde Park is one of those great neighborhoods, and great entrepreneurial neighborhood, great small business neighborhood, great cultural neighborhood of the city, and the city South Side. So just wanted to get a shout out, because I live in Hyde Park, so gotta talk about my own neighborhood. By the way, what part of the city? Dorothy, what part of the city is your business located? Like,
so it's located where I am, because right now, of course, it's home base, but I'm in the South Shore area. We do have a virtual business address that we use. It's in the downtown area, like the West Loop area, actually. So that's what's plugged in on our Google business profile, and we actually get a lot of business in that area just because of it. So personally, I'm located in the South Shore area, but the business is located in the West Loop.
Okay.
And yeah.
Yeah, no, two other great communities in the Chicagoland area. For those who don't know, South Shore, rich history, beautiful history, just from a cultural aspect, but also a lot of entrepreneurship. Look up the history of South Shore, y'all. South Shore, Chicago. Actually, I put a link. It's a really good article about South Shore, its history, from the Block Club Chicago. They did a really cool article about it. So keeping up that rich history of entrepreneurship right here, Dorothy. When we talked about, your online presence, your online marketing, what you do there. One thing I'd like to know is, like, what's your approach to scaling the business, and kind of building the business? Because you mentioned a couple of times, you dropped a few gems there about brainstorming with people, building out, kind of that referral program to bring in employees. How do you scale your business, or do you have I don't know, a process, or what you have to grow your business? Because that's where a lot of people struggle. Right after you get to that past that formation area, they're looking at, okay, well, how do I make the business outside of myself? Because I'm the business right now. How do you scale? How did you go about scaling your business and building your business?
Yeah, for starters, I mean, it's just really a day at a time. It's just, understanding, hey, having a sense of direction. Where do I want to go? And, creating a few goals and just hitting those goals and making your way. And like you say, you can get to a standstill where you're like, what's next? And I've attended a few classes. So I've gone through Sunshine Enterprises.
Okay.
It is a 12-week business academy.
Mhm.
And I completed that program 2023, fall of 2023. It was amazing. You had people from different levels of their business, from being in their business for 10 years to being in their business for just a few years. And then you have people who just only have business ideas, but you go into class and they walk you through all the information and you're plugging it in, and it's getting your gears turning. And then not only Sunshine Enterprises, I went through the Women's Business Development Center.
Okay.
I went through the program with them. So actually I got to them through the pitch competition. So
Oh.
because I didn't make it in the pitch competition
Oh.
with IJ Clinic, and they had seen me around because I've been connected with them for some time. They really encouraged me to apply for the Scale Higher program with the Women's Business Development Center. And so I went on, I put in the application. I met with someone, they interview you just to see if you're a great fit for the program. And next thing I know, I got an email. So I recently gone through that program as well. That was a really amazing program. But with them, they actually take you through the digital tools that you need. Like there were like a list of 10 digital tools, right, to help you scale. And the digital tools are in marketing, or it's in finances, it's in just all these different areas and segments. But it's just clear to say these are the tools, and
Mhm.
it's up to you to take the time to, as a business owner, work on obtaining them and then implementing them and creating those systems. So that has been a driving force to helping us grow the
Yeah.
business, scale the business.
Yeah. No, no, that's amazing. And you, what you said, like, they give you the tools, but they also it sounds like they also helping you guiding kind of not just how to leverage the tools and how to use the tools, but kind of giving you a kind of a step by step, like these are the ideal tools for these stages of the business. Is that kind of a good understanding of that program?
Yeah,
Or okay, go ahead. Sorry.
nope. So each class, because of course, everything is in order. There's some structure, and of course, everybody's business is in different stages. But it's
Right.
like they set the information out, and then we have to do our due diligence to go through the information and to clarify, is this something that we need, or because everybody's needs are different when it comes to
Exactly.
business. But definitely they show you, they give it to you, and then you have to research it, but then we'll talk about it, discuss it as needed, and go from there.
And what was the name of this organization? What this program? Because this sounds amazing. We need more people need to be on this one.
Yeah, nope. It's the Scale Higher program with Women's Business Development Center,
Oh,
WBDC. And
okay.
they actually they have, like, it's levels to the program. So
Okay.
it's like scale, and then it's Scale Higher. So I was able to skip the scaling part, and I was able to just jump into the Scale Higher.
Okay.
And so I'm not sure what scale offers, but
Yeah.
the Scale Higher, it was a game changer. and
Good.
and for where we have the information from Sunshine, we have the information from WBDC. So it's just a matter of, again, it's a matter of just not being all over the place, just having a sense of direction, because you
Yeah.
have all of this information. Just have a starting point and go from there. and
Gotcha.
just take the time that's, needed. Like, don't rush it.
Right. Right. And I'm glad you said that because that's where a lot of people, they want to jump in. It's funny how like entrepreneurs they deal with different things in different stages, of course, like you said, because every business at different stages, but that tends to be an area where it's like I want to do everything all at once, as opposed to starting out, just getting started, just getting built out, just hey, getting some kind of framework or reference point. Just start, just get a starting going. Don't worry
Yeah.
about having to do every little thing. You might have something you want to do down the road, but you don't have to do it right off the bat. You don't have to do it right from the very beginning, because sometimes you just overwhelm yourself. So it's like you said, as long as you don't just getting in there, and then they can identify programs like this, at least not just this one program, but many programs can identify, where you belong. Because I could see already, yeah, you probably were scaling it up, and they were like, yeah, you can go right to the next scale higher, because of the simple fact is you were taking the time to do your research and build anyway, to where you could, maybe skip some steps and go forward. Um, Making you kind of the ideal student, if you will, but a good model for a lot of people to follow. Of course, no, great, because I've seen the work, and sharing, what the email looks like, and kind of getting ideas where people, just to take advantage of the technology that's there. And you mentioned, the different technology they gave you, and what do you use for email marketing? Because like I said, I saw the newsletter that came up. Going to share that in the episode, just how it looks. But what do you use for email marketing, and what do you use for do you use a CRM system, or do you use, do you just use Google for emails? Like, how do you do your email marketing?
Yeah, so at this time we are using our CRM, but that's mainly for the clients we worked with.
Okay.
All the information is plugged in there, phone number. We
Right.
will marketing as well.
Okay.
The CRM that we're using, they offer that, and then it has their emails and everything. So um,
And you mentioned your CRM. What CRM system, or for those who don't know, it's customer relationship management system. What CRM do you use?
So at this time, we're currently using Workwave.
Okay.
Initially, we started using PayPal. So in the beginning days, we were
Okay.
using PayPal. We have PayPal Business,
Mhm.
where you can create those invoices and those. Well, I don't know if you can do. I think you can do estimates, but I wasn't doing it at the time in the beginning stages.
Oh,
And then we switched over to Workwave, and Workwave has been great to us. They offer payment processing, they offer the email marketing, they offer the communication piece, but it's the scheduling, all of that.
good.
So, yep, Workwave.
Workwave. Okay, okay. So yeah, we'll share some more information about Workwave as well, because it's just trying to get the word out about different platforms that people could potentially use, because everyone's business is different. Everyone's business, works differently, and they work differently. So it should be, what works, what's more conducive to what's best for them. So going to close out with a few questions, a little more on just inspirational, any kind of because like I said, you can get a mentor from anywhere. Somebody can listen to this. Somebody's mentioned it. They were like, hey, they found a digital mentor through one of the episodes of the podcast. I was like, that's a cool way of looking at digital mentors. Um, what is because I ask every guest this question. What is a book that you would share, a book that you would recommend for, whether it's starting your business, growing your business, just as inspirational, even on a personal level? What is a book that you would recommend, that you would say, hey, you know what, if you're an entrepreneur listening to this show, here's a good book I would like you to listen to check out, listen to, read, however.
Yes, there's this book by a guy named Gary Keller and Jay Papasan, and the name of the book is The One Thing.
Okay.
And with it, the greatest thing for me is they're just telling you to focus on one thing, right? So that you
Yeah.
can deep dive in it, really dig into it, and grow it exponentially. And over time, that's what I have done, because I come from a hustler background, like just my whole life, um, 10 years ago, or even maybe more than that. Like, I started out doing hair. I've always done security. Like, I've
Mhm.
had passions, and those passions have changed over time. And I also was doing makeup professionally and
Okay.
doing security as well. And I still have a passion for that, and but I've just kind of scaled back because this is my baby now. So with the
Yeah.
cleaning and organizing business, this is my bread and butter. This is
Yeah.
how I'm feeding, my family and creating opportunities for others. So I love this, and I want to keep growing it. So I have just cut things off, and so that I can scale back and actually focus and get this thing to where I want it to be. Because I can see this being, a big name in
Exactly.
many states. So, but it won't get there if I don't drive it there.
Right.
So the one thing is to just focus on this, focus on my family, focus
Mhm.
on self-care, and just go from there.
Big time. And just to jump in there, no, and great share. That's why I smiled. So I was like, that's a great book because I remember reading that book, and it was actually at a period for me as well where I was looking at kind of similar to yourself. We have the hustle mentality. I mean, for those who don't know, that entrepreneurial spirit. If you're just starting out, don't be shocked if you like. I have, like I said, you have multiple ideas, but it's like, what are you gonna go with initially? Or not, maybe not even initially. What are you going to go with is just say, okay, this is going to be the driving force for a lot of other things. And I first found that book around the same time. I was doing the same thing, which was I was, I had an e-commerce business that I started with a great business partner. I was his manager. He was actually a rapper, and he had his own record label. We were doing shows around the country. We were traveling. And one of the songs was just it worked out that the song was a great name for an apparel line. So we actually created a fashion line from it. But we had to both take a step back and be like, man, we're doing so much. We're not putting 100% in anything. You know what I mean? We're putting like 20% here, 30% there, 40% there, and you're expecting 100% back from everything. Great,
Mm-hmm.
great element about that book. You touched on it. Just focus and dominate that one thing because that can actually help others. That can help the others blow up. And who knows, like you said, you get it to the point where it's more, you have the managers in place, you have the team members in place to where you can, okay, maybe you want to go back to doing makeup and you want to have that as a business as well, but you have those other things in place where this business, this is the baby, this is the one kind of feeding the others as well. It can work out that way if you want it, but focus on one at least to get that to the level where, okay, it's self-sustaining.
Yeah.
Great book, y'all. No, and fantastic. And you actually got both of their names right because I couldn't remember the second author. I remember Keller, but I could not remember the second author. So thank you for saying that. I was like, oh, that's
Yeah.
right. There's a co-author, right? I forgot about that guy. I know he's a part of this book. I totally forgot. But no, awesome recommendation. All right. So Dorothy, I'm not gonna hold you up. I just wanted to get one last question from you. I know you had that one piece of inspiration, one great book. Everybody grab that one. The one thing, it's literally one book, one thing. Grab it. There'll be a link in the description of this episode as well for you to pick up that book. But I also asked for a little inspiration. What is a quote or a saying, something from you, from a famous person, that's blowing up just like you, or you building in your business that you've learned along the way? Maybe something a mentor has said to you. What is a statement or a quote that you could share that people can take away with them, and they'll be like, you know what, this is something I can hang on to help me, go through the stages of entrepreneurship. What's something you could leave us with, like a statement or a quote?
Yeah. So as I think about it, I have I utilize something called Y stamp, and it's an email signature.
Okay.
And with the email signature, there's a free version, right? You can
Yeah.
plug in your social media, you can plug in a picture.
Yeah.
It's good. It's a clean look. And something that they throw in there, they throw quotes in there. And sometimes the quotes can be random, but it's always this one quote that stand out. And forgive me because I don't have it directly in my head exactly, but it goes something like the rear view mirror is clearer than the windshield. And I kept like really thinking about it, like, what does this mean? I was just, and I think Warren Buffett is the guy who created the quote.
Okay.
Um, but over time, I thought about it, and I'm like, okay, the rearview mirror is clearer, and I say that because you've obviously gone through, what you've gone through, so it's clear
Yeah.
the decisions you have made, the choices you have made, what has worked, what hasn't worked, and that's why it's clearer for me than the windshield, because looking forward, you don't know what's ahead. So it's like but because you you see the rear view, what you can do is just kind of plan and prep, right? You take that, make it a learning piece and a driving force to get
Yeah.
you where you need to go. So that's my take on that quote by Warren Buffett.
Man, it was like a mic drop kind of statement. Shoot, because you're 100%. I never looked at it like that, but of course, I mean Warren Buffett. I mean, he
Yeah.
would, of course, like who else to learn from? That's yeah, because you just think about all your experiences. You have a perspective on all those things, but you don't know what's ahead. And if you
Right.
worry too much about the future, you don't even know what's to come. So, but learn
Mhm.
from what you've done in the past. Wow. Okay. Dang, Woods and Buffett.
Mhm.
I love it. I love it. What?
Do something different,
Go ahead.
you
Go
know.
ahead.
No, I was just saying, be ready to do something different, considering, hey, I this is what I have done. Be
Yeah.
ready to challenge yourself and be ready to do something different.
Yeah.
It may come with some fear, or instead of fear, it may come with some major excitement. Is
Right.
something I've heard recently. So let's not call it fear, but it's just like excitement, and you have to just channel that excitement to push you forward. So
Exactly. Exactly. I like the way you frame that right. Don't call it fear, call it excitement. Just it's all in the way you look at things. Perspective means so much. And I hope a lot of people are paying attention to that, because that changes a lot about how you go about the way you walk you walk through life and you go through life. As if you let fear guide you. Look at it as excitement. Hey, this is new, this is different, but take it on with that. I'm ready to go. I'm ready to challenge myself and see to see what's to come, because I don't know what's to come. So,
absolutely.
go hard with it. And what's next with your business? Let's make sure we leave off with that. Like, what's coming up? Do you guys have any promotions, any opportunities coming up? What's going on with your business? The next thing you want to share with the folks out here?
Yeah, so a great part about running a business, like you may have ideas, right? Like this is what I want to do and this is it. But things change. So you big time you have to be ready to pivot. And then you also have to look at your clientele and look at the people you're working with and look at what they need. And that's how we've grown this business over time. So initially we started out cleaning and organizing, that was the focus. But as we were going into people's homes, we saw that wow, laundry is piling up, So how can we furthermore help them? And that's when we branched out and, picked up with the laundry carry out.
Okay.
Um, and now furthermore, again, just seeing what clients need. We all have struggles, right? We all are dealing with traumas, just the whole nine. But the driving force for what's next is just understanding that you have individuals who want to live intentionally and they
Mhm.
want to do things holistically,
Okay.
and we want to play a part in that. So we are working on a health and wellness hub, and what we're looking to do
Okay.
is just create a network of individuals. I guess again, it's about holistic living and being intentional, but we're
Right.
creating a network of individuals. So we're looking for therapists, we're looking for coaches. It could be not business coaches, but life coaches, fitness
Right.
coaches. We're looking for fitness trainers, chiropractors, anything like in the health food industry when it comes to like
Yeah.
herbs and all of those great things. Just anything that has to do with health and wellness. We
Okay.
do have a guideline. There is an application. We have the application ready because we're looking to work with vetted businesses that have a great background, a great reputation. Because again, the people that we work with, we want to just create a community where they can, because if they can't get the help from us, at least we know somebody that they can get the help from to
Exactly.
furthermore help them on their journey of having a clean space and
Yeah.
being decluttered. And it's not just about decluttering in your home. You have to declutter inside of you, in your mind, in
Yeah.
your spirit. So
Mhm.
so again, we can't do everything, but we want to be able to have hands and connections with
Mhm.
those who can. So that's what's next for us, and we're excited about it.
Okay.
um like I say, application is ready,
Okay.
and we've already sent those applications out to just people that we already know. So
Good.
just furthermore looking to connect and see what's out here, how we can help people live intentionally.
There you go. I mean, and that's a great way to leave it. Just real quick, make sure. So Is there a link to the application? We could put that in the description as well.
Yes,
I want to make
we do
sure.
have a link, and I can share that with you.
Please
Absolutely.
do. Please do. That's the whole point. Like I keep telling people, network and
Mhm.
build out a network. And real quick, just want to make sure to leave people with this one. This is a great example of how you don't have to stretch yourself so thin to try to provide everything. If you have that network, you can be that overall provider without having to do everything yourself. What Dorothy
Absolutely.
just broke down, that's
Yeah.
amazing. Amazing.
Yeah. Like I want to help people so much, but I know I can't do everything. So you get those
Right.
that can. And,
Right.
instead of like we call it network, but we can also maybe look at it like bridge the gap. So bridge gap. That's it. Look at networking as bridging gaps.
Like
So if you're
that.
ready to bridge if you're ready to bridge those gaps, then get
Yeah.
out there and do network.
And as we sign off, how can people find you? How can people, book your services? How can we get in touch with you, Dorothy? Drop it.
Yes. Pleasant Palace Cleaning and Organizing Service is our name. We Our tagline is Serenity is Peace. So you can find us online. Our website is www.serenityispiece.com, and that's SerenityiSpeace. Serenityispiece.com. We're on Facebook, we're on Instagram, we're on YouTube at Pleasant Palace Cleaning, PleasantPalaceCleaning, Pleasant Palace Cleaning. And that's how you can find us.
Absolutely perfect. Thank you so much, Dorothy. Much appreciate you taking the time. I know you're busy. I know you run off. You got more clients to handle. Just so you guys know, Dorothy was like, "Hey, I really want to do the interview. Got this, got that, but I'll make time for the interview." She carved time out of her schedule to take time to speak to us, to speak to you guys, and definitely take advantage of the knowledge. I mean, she dropped a bunch of gems, but there was a lot to pull from in this episode. So go back, listen to it again, because the little pieces there. And once again, start small and build from there. Start from where you're going to start from and build from there and focus. So we got the links to not only the resources that Dorothy shared, as well as the book she recommended, and of course that beautiful and lovely quote by we're gonna call it the Woods Buffett quote. That's what we'll call it for now. Oh, thank you once again, Dorothy, for such a great interview. And this goes to show you guys how you can meet great people if you just put yourself out there. You go out there, you connect with other people within your industry, or like I said, even in an adjacent industry. Dorothy was, of course, at this event, as mentioned earlier. She was there because she had worked with contractors from Fiverr, even though she and I had never worked together. There were so many people who, from all different areas, all different types of businesses, right, had connected with contractors, had connected with freelancers, had connected with agency owners that were either running their businesses on Fiverr or just leveraging Fiverr, like myself, with bringing in leads and just connecting with people in different projects, and to expand my skill set and expand the skill set of my team as well. That we finally got a chance to meet a lot of these business owners that we had been helping, and that was a very critical and just worthwhile experience, because unfortunately, a lot of times when we're doing all this stuff online, we don't get to meet people in person. And this goes to actually one of the importance of not only network but also mentorship, is if you have the opportunity to meet and connect with somebody in person, take it. At least a video chat, right? Put a face to the name, to the voice, to all that stuff. Hey, here's my face. Boom, there I am. Right? Hey, yeah. Anyway, so the point is if you have opportunities to build out relationships and to build out that network, take them as soon as you can. That's my mentorship drop for you guys in this episode. Of anything, take advantage of the opportunity to connect and build relationships with people. You're not going to get anywhere without building those relationships with people, which goes right into where to find the mentor, because I have had this question. I think this is probably the third question I get the most, just in general, whenever I bring up the topics of different areas of the show. Where do you find mentors? Now, Dorothy was so kind to drop not only where she found mentorship, but also guidance and networking and opportunities. We have links to those places in the description as well. We're going to touch on a few of them right now. But here's a quick list of places to find mentorship, to work with mentors in different industries. This is not just about marketing. This is not just about sales. This is not just about web design, anything. You can find mentors in almost every single industry with these resources I'm about to give you right now. But you have to take that first step, put yourself out there. So let's break it down like a fraction. Let's get into it. First and foremost, I mentioned this place a number of times, and I'm going to give you this story real quick of why Score Mentors is a fantastic resource. So a friend of mine, he and I have been kicking around this business idea for literally, I want to say we have been kicking around for at least 3 years. And it was an opportunity, talking about opportunities in the market. Sometimes it fits perfectly. The opportunity was there. We're like, hey, I'm noticing how the market is opening up. We have a pretty good financial position where we can at least, do a good down payment on a facility. We can kind of get things going. But back of my mind was, we don't know real estate. We're not real estate agents. We're not real estate professionals. We're not real estate developers. We just have an idea for a business. I could do all I want with creating a business plan and pulling in research, but let's talk to somebody. And I always knew about Score Mentors. So I took the advantage saying, hey, it's a free mentorship program. And you can have just one conversation to change everything, right? So we didn't do a whole drawn out program. What we did is just had an initial kickoff and setup meeting with one of their mentors who was a professional. And this is what he had his most experience was real estate development, but specifically for startups. That's what I'm saying. You can find it. It can get down to the most important factor, because the way a startup is approaching this is going to be totally different from a business that has other, real estate ventures that they've already invested in. He saved us our life savings. There's no other way to put that. Now, I must admit, my ego was not bruised. My ego was actually, put up on a pedestal, because I told him the business idea. He loved it. He said, that's a great idea. Here are the things you have to consider before, because a great idea is, don't get me wrong, great idea is a great idea. Here's the things you have to consider. He talked about specifically market impact, how the market was going to change, because he's an expert. That's what he does. The market is going to change in the next 5 years. There's a reason why businesses were pulling out of these types of facilities. You have to look at these factors. Now, one of those I already knew. I knew why they were pulling out those facilities, right? It's because of the size, it's because of the cost of the real estate. The thing that he got me was when he said how it's going to change in 5 years. Sure enough, here's the crazy part about this. The industry did change in 5 years. Not because of what he was saying. Pandemic happened, and there was just a flood of people with similar ideas to mine. Not the exact same thing, by far, not the exact same thing. Still haven't seen the exact same thing. But very similar. And you know what? It became market saturation. So because of market saturation and then the pandemic, it imploded. This is what was crazy. This is what really was crazy about what he said. What he said was going to happen happened right after the pandemic. And a lot of the people who came into the business, like my partner and I did, were just wiped out. Some of them sold, and they maybe have salvaged, saved some money. But you got to keep in mind, you're talking about two guys who worked hard, blue collar. We worked retail jobs, we had corporate jobs, stuff like that. We were putting all our little money together to make something happen. Not to say we would have gone belly up and we would have been unsuccessful, but to say the majority of people who were in the positions we were going into the industry were gone within 6 years. You need to work with a mentor. Score Mentorship is a complete not-for-profit organization. They have physical locations all over the country, but you can also do virtual chats. You can work with people who've worked in pharmacy, people who've worked in retail, people who've worked in, every business you can think of, in pretty much every stage of your business. Everything from developing the business plan, the marketing strategy, and I share them all the time on my LinkedIn, but they have webinars all the time for free. Use it while it's free. I keep telling y'all this, which goes into the next group. Small business development centers. Now, small business development centers and SCORE work very similar, right? Because they do have a lot of training. They do have a lot of webinars. Difference with small business development centers, a little bit more in depth. So they do have some programs that cost. But here is the coolest factor about them. You're talking about an entire start to finish program. They have entire start to finish programs. You talk about having somebody who can sit down and run through every single aspect of your business development, your manufacturing, your financial assistance, whatever you need. They have those programs readily available all over the country. And from one conversation speaking to a director, I hate to say this, they often do not get utilized at all in some areas. I mean, and I'm not talking about like a rural area where maybe there isn't a large entrepreneurship community there. I'm talking about big urban communities where there's a strong element, right? A strong environment for entrepreneurs. In other words, entrepreneurs all over the place. People starting businesses out of their garage. People starting businesses out of their attics. People starting businesses online, with a bunch of friends at college. And they're not using the small business development centers. Link to small business development centers in the description. Women's business centers. Once again, all over the country. Not as many facilities, right, as SCORE and small business development, but still enough for you guys to take advantage, especially if you're in these urban clusters where you see a strong entrepreneurial community. Get your questions answered. Speak to men and women who have been there and done that, but are going to specifically focus on the challenges that a lot of women businesses or businesses that are ran by women face, right? Let's be real. We know it's not fully quality out here. There's a lot of challenges that are very unique to different communities. And it's important that you have people who've been there, done that, dealt with it, but also can help you navigate these different situations and get the most for your business and your people, your team, especially if you have a small business and you have employees. Take advantage. Women's business centers. Micro Mentor is the largest free online business mentorship network, and it connects entrepreneurs with volunteer mentors. So it's kind of similar to SCORE because they have that one-on-one program and they have the one-on-one guidance in a variety, but it's strictly focusing on online, which helps you if maybe you can't get out. Maybe you have other challenges where maybe you can't leave. You have children, you have family obligations. Hey, everyone's situation is different. But the point is, and that's the point of this show, is to make sure you have those resources or we can find those resources for you. And Micro Mentor is one of those. Sky's the Limit is a non-for-profit organization that offers free mentorship for entrepreneurs, but they focus on supporting those from underrepresented groups. Like I said, we're unique challenges, unique situations for different communities. See, we got to make sure we're keeping something in mind. We're not going to treat everything like it's the same because it's not the same. And we all know that. I know that for sure. I know you know that. But if we have these resources out here, you can't say nobody didn't tell you. You can say, Aaron told you. The Ambition Show podcast told you. That's what the Ambition Show podcast is for. And speaking of a network, share. Don't forget to like and subscribe, but share this episode out, especially if you know somebody who's constantly saying, I don't know where to get mentorship, or that friend and that associate needs a mentor, or that friend associate needs a bigger network. This episode is for them because maybe it's not Micro Mentor, maybe it's Sky's the Limit. Because maybe, the issues that they're facing are very unique and specific to underrepresented and underinvested communities. And maybe they're a part of those communities and they need that support. Well, the Women's Business Center is another great resource. Very similar situation. They have physical locations, but they can also do it online as well. America's Small Business Development Centers. Now, this is a national network that provides free business consulting and training through the local branches of the Small Business Development Centers. So they work hand in hand, but they only work strictly through that branch, if you will. So it has to be, of course, through one of their offices. So this won't be an online thing. This will be something that's strictly going through one of those offices. But the same thing, more so training though. So if you're in a position where I need a little bit more than a mentor. Maybe it's not business school, but I want business training, how to handle contracts, how to handle negotiation. Big area where a lot of businesses mess up. You notice I didn't say anything about a specific type of business yet. If you are an entrepreneur, and I'm going to call this out right now, I'm tired of this stuff because this happens all the time. If you think, Jay, just because my business is online or I make digital products or this or that, I don't need these things, you are 100% wrong. What do you think you're doing right now when you're on freaking YouTube watching somebody? Okay? You're on YouTube. You're looking for mentorship technique through a YouTube influencer or a YouTube expert in their area, their subject matter expert, right? Maybe on cameras, maybe on how to use the YouTube platform, how to use Adobe, whatever it may be, Canva, doesn't matter. It's the same thing. If you have an online business or you have a physical storefront, doesn't matter. People want to stay away from education and training. They're going to lose out because that person has seen it from a perspective you haven't. And better yet, they may have encountered, once again, those issues, whether it's a mistake, whether it was a bad decision. They've encountered that before you. They can help you navigate away from making that same mistake. That could cost you your life savings. My friend, he focused on the work that he was doing. He focused on his career. He's thriving. Myself, I focused on what I wanted to focus on, and I'm thriving. Now imagine if we sat back, we lost our life savings, what kind of situation we would have been in. Not to say we can't bounce back. It's only money. True. We can bounce back. We got our friends and we got our family, but that puts on unnecessary stress. That could have put us in a challenging situation that we could have actually lost a friendship even. So think about that. A mentor can help you in all those little factors that you might not even be thinking about right now because you're too afraid to have a conversation with somebody. That's right. I'm calling you out. I'm not being nice. This ain't about nice guy. Anywho, SBA Mentor Protege Program. Now, program is ran completely by the Small Business Administration. And one thing to call out about the Small Business Administration, I will give them this. Over the previous 4 years, and even right now, they're producing a lot of programs. They're producing a lot of work for small businesses. We're going to see how that, how that gets impacted as things change and budgets change and the economy is getting affected and, of course, changing. But I will say there's a lot of things in place that have been there for the past, 4, maybe even up to 10 years that are still there to this day and are still there for you to take advantage of. This is about you and your community. This is about you and your family. They have free programs, free webinars. They did this huge thing just a few weeks ago for Small Business Week. We shared great notes on there on our LinkedIn post and a couple other places, but primarily on LinkedIn. I shared it out as well as on our Reddit feed. There's links to those posts and those takeaways that we got from Small Business Week and Small Business Week event that was held and sponsored by the United States Small Business Administration. Link to those notes and those posts are in the description of this episode. Check it out. Take advantage of the development programs that they have. Take advantage of their programs on how to secure government contracting. Also, take advantage of the programs that they do. They do a lot of partnerships, whether you need help with internet for your business, you need help with logistics for your business, you need help with getting your business online. They have a lot of opportunities there. I've taken advantage of a few of them. You should definitely do the same. And once again, freelancer, entrepreneur, small business. Remember, small business, if you have 500 or under employees, 500 or under, people want to trip out and make these little different subgroups. Well, I only have one employer. I'm the only employee. It doesn't matter. It's 500 or under. If you have 10 employees, you have 2 employees, you have 1 employee. You're the only employee. 500 or under. This is for you. Find a way to leverage it for yourself. And you know what the best way to doing that? Same thing I did. Worked with a mentor who had used some of those programs and hey, this is the way you can use this program for your business. You might think it's only for a business that has 1,000 employees or for 500 employees or 200 employees. No, it works for a business with 10. It actually works better for a business with 10. It's either for you to manage the funds, either you to manage the resources. So take advantage of the Mentor Protege program. 2 organizations that one, I don't know how it gets overlooked. And the other one, I can completely understand why it gets overlooked because it's just unfortunately this mindset that we have nowadays. So the first one is community colleges. A lot of people don't know community colleges have small business centers, right? So your community, your city, those colleges, right? The college that's only for that county, a college that only is organized within that city. Chicago has one of the most well-connected, right, city college organizations, but almost every major metropolitan has a city college educational system, right, that they work with. So it works with maybe 2-year degrees, trade schools. But you notice why I just said trade schools? And this is what gets missed. A lot of those trade schools are connected to business centers. For instance, I'm going to connect the dots for you. Not a problem. I got you on this one, especially on this one. Because I've seen it. Someone wants to start a real estate business, but specifically development, right? Small business now. This is a small person. This is, sole proprietor starting off. Where's he going to get his trade? His trade people, plumbers, electrician, HVAC. Many of the people in these trades, they have to go through apprenticeship programs, right? What he did is he worked with plumbers, electricians, HVAC that only worked with apprenticeship programs coming from the city colleges. Why? Because he gave them a pipeline to business. What did that give them? That gave them a pipeline to business. So he built a long-term business relationship with other small business owners because they were taking the time to work with apprenticeship programs. So now he has a laundry list of plumbers, HVAC specialists, of contractors, licensed, bonded, educated, trained, certified, good to go whenever he has a project. They have guaranteed business. He has guaranteed people to get the job done correctly. That's one of the best ways to connect with one of these organizations. Go to your city colleges. Find out about the small business, either a small business development center or small business centers, which are community college programs in your community college system. The other one that often gets overlooked, and once again, I primarily see this getting overlooked though by solopreneurs, people with online businesses, your local chamber of commerce. If you're in the U.S., chambers of commerce are all over the place. I know one community that literally has 3. Okay, because it's one for the neighborhood, it's one for the overall larger community, and it's one for the entire region of the place, in the city. Crazy, but it works perfectly because people have different needs. Your local chamber of commerce, not just the U.S. Chamber of Commerce, your local chamber of commerce. So Chicago Chamber of Commerce is a fantastic organization. Just giving you, of course, got, pop my collar from a city. But I digress. There are others. Chambers of Commerce, there's some fantastic organizations, Chamber of Commerce in California. I've met with people from Chambers of Commerce around the state of Texas. I've met people from the Chamber of Commerce in New York. Some really great programs out there. But a lot of the online businesses are not taking advantage of these. Share this with a friend. Share this with an entrepreneur that you know. Share this with a sole proprietor that you know. Share this with a person, everything from a drop shipper, and I'm serious, to a person with an online digital business. You could be making digital products for, you know what? I'm going to start charging y'all. No, seriously. You could be making digital products for a business that doesn't know jack squat about making digital products. But if there's an opportunity for them to connect with a greater audience online. You could be the graphic designer. You could be the logo designer. You could be the contract marketing team. I'm giving you these gems. You better be picking them up. I need a bag. Scoop them up. Better than diamonds. Serious. Swear to God. Your local chamber of commerce is the go-to. I save that as the best for last because, frankly, this is the one that gets overlooked. So you can, as bookends, start off with SCORE, go to the chambers of commerce, and everything in between is gravy. All right, now, once again, guys, what to read. Want to just make sure we recap real quick. Last segment, we gave you 10 great resources to reach out to for mentorship and also for networking. Like I said, kind of bookend them for you for the best, the 2 best on each end. Start off with SCORE Mentors, free organization, take advantage of it. And then, of course, your local chamber of commerce. You online businesses, you keep passing this up. I don't care if it's e-commerce. I don't care if it's digital products. I don't care if you're a YouTuber. Work with them. They need your skills. It will be beneficial for everybody involved, but you got to put yourself out there. You got to make sure that you are willing to work and build these relationships because, like I said, it's not only mentorship, it's networking. They go hand in hand. Of course, once again, thank you, Dorothy Woods. Great interview. The power of networking, but also what she shared was the power of mentorship and how to apply mentorship, because it's not just about taking in a bunch of information, not using it. It's about leveraging it to help you level up. And as you can hear from her story, she did a great job of leveling up, but she also did a great job of sharing more resources. All those resources that she shared also in the description of this episode. Like I said, this one right here, if you haven't shared an episode before and you don't share this episode with your friend, I'm just saying you selfish. I'm just being real, y'all. I'm sorry. Because between Dorothy, between everything SCORE does, between local, God, it's not fair. It's not fair for you to gobble up all the info, right? Share it with your friends. Share it with other entrepreneurs that you know. Share it with other small business owners that you know. Share it. That's the point of a network. you will now make yourself even more valuable to your network by doing that, right? That's what it's all about. What value do you bring? Every time I send a message to someone on LinkedIn about joining my LinkedIn, about being connected on LinkedIn, what value can I always put this in there? What value can I bring? It's not a template. It's exactly what value can I bring to your network? That's the key. That's what I really want to know. Can I bring value to your network? I've brought this up before in the past, I think, about how I don't accept all LinkedIn connects, and you shouldn't either. Actually, you know what? I know I ask this a lot. Hey, drop a comment. Because some people forget. There's a reason why you don't want everybody, just anybody, right? You want to make sure that you're bringing value and they're bringing value to you as well. It's a valuable relationship. Drop a comment if you want to know how I get the most out of the LinkedIn network that I have. And like I said, it's still the best social media platform for me, or best platform for me in my business, and continues to this day, no matter what. Whether I'm advertising organically, doesn't matter, either one. So, what to read? Now, these two books I'll call out real quick. We have referenced them. We've used them before in the what to read section, simply because they hit on so many different levels. Now, before was primarily in the confidence building, primarily was border, kind of on that leadership area. Here it's specifically how to connect with others, but more so build out a valuable relationship. And the importance of understanding why you want to build out that relationship, the importance of understanding why being a part, once again, value, being a part of that network, being a part of that mentorship and mentee relationship is important. So we'll start off with the first one, The 15 Invaluable Laws of Growth by John C. Maxwell. Power of Networking. This book was recommended by one of our guests, who was actually part of my network before she was a guest. Okay, shout out Jessie Bravo was one of our first guests, and where she talked about not only her business, she's a virtual assistant, social media analyst, social media contractor for multiple brands, multiple businesses, but what she brought up was basically not necessarily needing that encouragement, not necessarily needing the words of encouragement, but this is where that mentorship comes in. Kind of how to navigate, the guidance that you need, and not only being valuable for others, but bringing value to yourself and to your, to your life. What John C. Maxwell in the book, like I said, I've had other John C. Maxwell books before. I've read other Maxwell books before. I mentioned that to her in the interview. But when she brought up this one, and the way she conveyed how much she enjoyed it and how it helped her kind of overcome some challenges and to really, push and soldier through her business, I had to jump on, had to read it too. And honestly, I would say it's my favorite of his books. Listened to it since listening to it, before our episode when speaking to her, probably, I want to say 7 or 8 times. And he breaks down the different laws, right? But the one that sticks out, law of awareness. Know yourself to grow. Knowing yourself. Being honest with yourself. Like I said, it's about being honest where you're at, being humble where you're at, where you want to go, but knowing yourself and being genuinely caring about where you want to go, what value you want to bring, and the value that others could bring to you as well. Let's just be real. We know it's a transaction in a sense. It's a relationship, right? We're not saying hey, it's one-sided. But knowing yourself and the challenges you kind of have already and where you need to grow and how you need to grow, being honest with yourself, that's incredibly important factor to development on all levels. We're not talking about just entrepreneurship. We're talking about all levels, right? And we're talking about all types of relationships. We're not talking about just a mentorship relationship, a mentor-mentee relationship. Start with why is perfect for this because, as mentioned, with knowing yourself, knowing where you're at, being honest where you're at, that also goes with your why. Why is this important to me? Sadly, a lot of us, what we'll do is we'll say, hey, I want to be rich, I want to be successful, but we don't really define what success is, right? Because success means something different to everybody. If success to you is only about being rich and making money, then okay, but Say that's what it is. Reason why is because if you just say, I want to be successful, you're going to get it. You're going to have some type of success. It might not be the success you wanted. You have to be honest with yourself. You have to be honest with yourself also. Why is that important to you? Reason being is when you know why something's important to you, when you know why you want to do something, why you want that path. If someone says, well, the one thing preventing you from reaching that goal, from being successful, is you need to be better with managing your money and your finances. You're willing to put that time in to manage your money and your finances. You're willing to put that discipline in to manage your money and time. And here's more importantly, you are willing to listen to someone when they identify that. That's where that mentor can come in. That's when that mentor can come in. That's when that network can come in. When that person looks at your numbers and is honest with you, man, you really need to take a step back. You're not ready for this growth. You're not ready for the next step of this business. You need to really get this foundation established first. Maybe put the right people in place, hire an employee or two. Or better yet, if you know this is important to you and you know why it's important to you, you know why you want this business to work, and you know why you want this to be the business in the industry and the actual practice, service, product, whatever it is that you want to do, you're also willing to, hey, if I need to go back to school, if I need to acquire more skills, if I need to hire somebody, if I need to take a step back and say, you know what, I can't do everything. I need to bring in the right people. The why behind everything is critical. And I firmly believe, even before reading Simon Sinek's book, firmly believe that is the one thing that separates the person who's going to reach the goal and the person who doesn't. Every client I have, when we talk about marketing, one of the first things I start off with is mission statement, audience, why you? What's your mission? Because your mission is telling the world, this is who we are, this is why we do it, and this is why we do it for the people we do it for. Why do those people need you? Why do you care about being a solution for those people? Why should those people pick you? You know, it's always come back to that why, those why factors. If you can't answer that type of stuff, and usually the businesses that are struggling are the ones who can't answer it. Now, there's a difference. You might be able to articulate it in different words. You might be able to use different terminology for it, but you can actually say it. But the ones who cannot even figure out why would they pick you and not that person? Why would they pick you and then someone else? Why did you determine, or why did you choose to serve this audience and provide this product and this service to them? The why. Simon breaks it down like a fraction of why it's so critical and why it's so important, but also in helping you discover the why and how to get there. Great books, great advice, honest advice, keeping it real with you, easy to read, and more importantly, not just easy to read, easy to apply what you've consumed, easy to apply the practices and apply the activities to help you get to the position you want to be. Check out both of these. These are the recommendations for this episode. Links to either the Kindle, the trade paperback, the audio. I am a fan of audiobooks, especially because I like to travel, but ain't nothing wrong. When you find the right cafe, when you find the right storefront, when you find the right whatever to sit down and chill, kick your feet up, pull out the Kindle or trade paperback, and boom. Something about having a book in your hands, you know, it's something about that. It's very special. It helps you get more immersed into it. But hey, if you got to do it with the audio, nothing wrong with the audiobooks too. Links to in the description, links to get those books in the format that you prefer in the description of this episode. And with that, networking. And with that, mentorship. The list of all the places for those mentorship opportunities and also networking opportunities in the description of this episode. Check them all out. Working with a mentor can help you determine, hey, is this right for us at this stage, you know, before we go any farther? Or is this right for us at this stage based on our friendship and the kind of relationship we have? So definitely invaluable pieces of information. Grab those in the description. Share this out with a friend and associate. Be a very valuable contributor to your community. Thank you once again for joining me, Aaron Muhammad. I've been your host on the Ambition Show podcast. It's always a pleasure, and look forward to seeing you at the next episode. Best of you and yours. Peace.